Cardi, Beyonce, SZA, all y'all stop using that pain to make it okay to say some bull on your record.
Remember 2018 when Jay Holiday got on the internet and dragged Beyoncé for filth for winning a Grammy over him? Well, it turns out he didn't go scot-free for that, because word on the street is Beyoncé dealt with him behind the scenes, and she used Diddy to make it happen. The reason why Jay Holiday was pressed about the award at the time was because he had lost an award to Mary J Blige a few years prior, and since then, he's been mad at Black women as if they are the reason for his failures in life. Even though folks didn't like how he came at Beyonce, they were still against the way he was treated after the whole incident. Word on the street is, after he was blackballed by Diddy and Beyonce, he went back to Beyonce to apologize, but she just redirected him to Diddy, where he was forced to humiliate himself by indulging in freakoffs, where he was the one doing the bending. It all started back in 2018 when Jay Holiday jumped on Instagram and made the biggest mistake of his life by coming for Beyonce after the Grammys. He was mad at Cardi, SZA, and Beyonce winning a Grammy over the men. Mind you, none of these women even won a Grammy. Yes, they were nominated, but they didn't win, just like how he also hasn't won a single one a day in his life, but yet he still came for them simply because he felt they were using their personal life experiences to snatch awards from men who he claims have to work 10 times harder to get the recognition. Jay Holiday made the Grammy about men versus women, then turned around to justify him attacking women by bringing up the fact that he has a mom and 2 daughters.
So apparently, man, the black men still losing to the women. I get it. No disrespect. I was raised by a woman. I have 2 older sisters, man. I have absolute all respect for black women. But with that being said, understand this, man. Black men, African American men, men from the hood, we go through everything to make sure that who we care about are taken care of. We don't swing our around. We don't do all this to be seen. I could be that over here up. I know a whole bunch of little that sing that I could call their the out, but I don't. And understand this. I got daughters, man. Cardi, Beyonce, SZA, all y'all motherfuckers, stop using that pain to make it okay to say some on your record and get nominated for a Grammy.
Well, people, especially the Beehive, weren't here for this at all. And they took to Twitter to drag Jay Holiday for being owed and bitter. One person said, as if it's not bad enough having your career in the garbage, you further decide to commit social by insulting Beyonce. Jay Holiday is now banished to the same island we sent Carrie Hilson to. Another person said, Jay Holiday is 33 and looks like mulch and misery. If that doesn't make you want to add another glass of water to your day, then nothing will. Now, as I said, Jay Holiday's hatred for women winning awards over men had more to do with him losing awards to women his whole career, especially his infamous 2008 Grammy loss to Mary J Blige. Cardi, SZA, and Beyonce were just on the receiving end of something deeper, but that didn't mean Beyonce was going to overlook it. She didn't react publicly, but word on the street is she dealt with him behind the scenes, and since then, he's kept her name out of his mouth. Back in 2009, his debut album, Back of My Lack, lost to Mary J Blige's album, Growing Pains, for the Best Contemporary Album, and since then, he hasn't been the same. His career went down the drain, and it wasn't because he lost an award. Oh no, it was because of how he reacted to the loss. He threw shade at Mary in a tweet in which he basically called her untalented. He tweeted at the time, "Yes, salty I lost to MJB. Hashtag pain wins, not talent." Now, he may have been able to get away with this when he did it to Mary, but Beyonce didn't take it very well, and neither did Jay-Z, and they made him know. According to sources, Beyonce worked with Diddy and Jay to destroy Holiday's career. Apparently, this is why we haven't seen him all these years. They cut all his promo and got him dropped from his label. People were initially unsure if they should believe Beyonce had a hand in the death of his career, but the more they dug into her relationship with Diddy, the likelihood of her making him do her dirty work for her became very likely. In fact, this wasn't the first time he did her dirty work for her, except that this time it was at the cost of Holiday's career. Freddie P revealed a while back that during his days on Making the Band, when Diddy made him and his group members walk all the way downtown to get him a cheesecake from the cheese factory, it was actually for Beyonce, not Diddy. Apparently, she's the one who told Diddy to make them walk instead of using a car. It's unclear the exact part of New York they were in at the time, but the trip to downtown by foot was 4 hours long, and he made them walk there to get him a cheesecake. This was one of the first signs that Diddy was not right in the head, but folks were too unconcerned to call out his behavior. In fact, they found it funny and said he was doing all that to build his artist because the industry isn't for the weak. During a recent interview, Freddie P finally revealed who the cheesecake was for, and it turns out it was for Beyonce. This whole time, we thought Diddy punished these boys for his own satisfaction, when it was really at the request of Beyonce. Apparently, Beyonce was the one who told Diddy that she wanted cheesecake, but instead of her making someone from her team go get it for her, she allowed Diddy to make the members of the band walk for hours to get it and humiliate them on national television.
Okay, fun fact a lot of people don't know, that cheesecake we went and got was for Beyonce. She was upstairs the whole time. What we was talking about again? Hold on. Yeah, that's a fun fact people don't know. People like, y'all walked together, cheesecake. It was for Beyonce. I'm the type of nigga. I listen to everything you say as if it's a contract. So if you say, walk to the store, or walk to get me some cheesecake, I'll walk to get you some cheesecake, but I'm not walking back. And that's just what me and Darlon did. And they like, why y'all, you know, they hot. Like, y'all cheating. And we like, he told us to walk. He didn't tell us to walk back. So we already in the hotel like 3 hours before they got there. When they said they was coming, we went and met him in front of the building. And you know the first thing that nigga said out of his mouth? He said, we got the cheesecake. He was like, I don't want that shit. Take that shit upstairs for Beyonce. Then he said, they was like, yeah, man, we want to tell you, Fred and Darlon, they ain't walk back. You know, trying to be on some snitching shit. He's like, I ain't tell you niggas to walk back.
At the time Freddie revealed this, people were really surprised that Diddy was going this far for Beyonce. That was until a viral video of DaBaby went viral of him exposing the time he met Beyonce and Jay during a private party at Diddy's house. He said Diddy kicked everyone out of the room, leaving only him, Beyonce, Jay, and Diddy in the room. Once it was just them, he claims Beyonce started talking to him a lot, and she even introduced herself to him. According to Jaguar Wright, this was a freak-off meeting, and Beyonce was trying to seduce DaBaby into giving her some of that hood D, because Jay was clearly not putting it down since he's getting a little old.
I say I was at a party at Diddy crib in LA. This was the beginning of 2020. You know what I mean? Diddy had put everybody else out the crib, like the influx of people he had put him out. But he had took a liking to me in particular around the time, man. It was really, you know what I mean, like putting his arm around me.
Right.
So he had put majority of the people out, but he allowed me to stay in there. Me and, you know, maybe about 15 others, you know.
Right.
Jay-Z and Beyonce being, you know, 2 of the other 15 people in the room. So that'll just put it into perspective of the type of company I was in
Right.
at the moment, you know. And she came over and introduced herself to me like as if she had to.
Right.
Beyonce, cut it out. But I'm a big fan of your work, you know what I'm saying? Whoop de whoop, and that was just dope. That was dope as hell to me, man. That was dope. That was.
What he is a broke down Mandingo fighter still working on behalf of the NFL. That's what he is. Period. You want to know what else I also find funny? That he did that interview with the baby person who sat there and told him about when he met Beyonce. Y'all remember that? That happened on Shay Shack. And he talked about how he was at the Diddy party at Diddy's house. And how after, you know, the festivities were winding down and it was getting later into the middle of the night, approaching 3 a.m., Diddy got rid of almost everybody, but he let the baby stay behind with him and his close friends. And then he talked about how Beyonce was there and Jay-Z was there. Not at their house, at Diddy's house. And how Beyonce presented herself to him. And she didn't have to do that because he knew who she was and he couldn't believe she was talking to him. But she approached him. Kind of like how she approached that old friend of his when he said that he was at the party and the little people was there and she asked him, "Isn't this sexy?"
Damn.
My. How illuminating. There's been a lot of freaking off going on for a long time. Why does everybody keep... Let me tell you this. Beyonce, Giselle Knowles Carter. It does not matter how much money they spend, how many people, those tickets ain't gonna sell. I wish you had the common sense that animals do when they're caught. They just surrender. But no, y'all gonna fight it to the very end. Y'all gonna bring this broke down old NFL bum who apparently will do anything with his genitals to help cover or create validity where there is none with the weirdos. With his little orange purse. Screwing people's kids. Screwing kids young enough to be his grandchildren. Shame on you. You a dirty old man. Period.
From the way Jaguar and all these folks are talking, it sounds like Beyonce and Diddy's relationship runs deeper than we thought. Jay Holiday should have just kept his mouth shut and maybe he would have still had a career. But he messed it up for himself the minute he came for Beyonce. The careers of everyone who has ever come for her hasn't ended well, and that isn't a coincidence. One person said, "Beyonce makes me sick to my stomach, and every time she gets an award, I ask myself, what did she do to get that one?" Another person said, "People keep forgetting that Beyonce knew Diddy before Jay-Z. Diddy is the one that set them up." But now, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about Jay Holiday revealing what Beyonce allegedly did to him? And do y'all think he deserved it for talking about her like that? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.